Everyone, welcome to another Music Talk Tuesday, and today I thought it'd be interesting to briefly discuss some songs that are about mom or reference mom in the title, or mama, or any other uh, term that often is given to mothers, uh, or they are sort of a reference to a mother. So I'll kind of go over these four in particular that I managed to find that I thought were interesting. There's actually not a whole lot of them out there, and usually the ones that are out there are not as, I think, of good quality in comparison to the ones that I managed to find. So I'll be talking about those ones though. And I thought it would be appropriate considering the fact that this coming Sunday is Mother's Day. So without further ado, let me address the first song, being Mama, I'm Coming Home by Ozzy Osbourne. This is probably one of the more famous songs on my list here. Um, this song, although it references Mama in the title, Ozzy Osbourne actually wrote this song for his wife, who supposedly helped him sort of get back up on his feet again within life and move him towards a more positive direction. And so he sort of dedicated this number to her. And I think you could say that even though it is a reference to a wife, um, the sort of kind of motherly, nurturing instinct, I think, that Ozzy's wife had for him to sort of get his life back together, I think is one that, again, I think can be something that is considered on the sort of motherly side, even though she is not technically his mom. Um, and also when you listen to the lyrics as well, and how they can be applied to various different things depending uh, on the way in which you want to view the song, it does sort of hint the idea of coming back um, to the to in essence the state in which you're more closer to the one particular person, in particular the mama, and in this case is his wife. But the whole concept of sort of coming home, and the ideas behind sort of the mother figure within the family unit, I think it's something that is definitely sort of prevalent, and again is sort of displayed within the song, even though it's not directly in reference to a mom, uh, even though eventually his wife would become a mom. So I think though that's really all I can say though about this song without really giving too much away. It's got some great instrumentals. It does give off this rock edge, but then it also has this sort of underlying power and passion to it as well. So I think it's definitely worthy of recommendation. And I think regardless of whether the mama is an actual mom or a reference to a spouse, you still can sort of see how a lot of people can attribute this in particular to something that is what we would consider to be sort of motherly in trying to bring back somebody that's been so far away uh, from a place of contentment and belonging. So, the next one that I wanted to briefly talk about is Your Mother and Mine, and this is from Peter Pan. And Wendy actually sings this song. And out of all of the songs that are in Peter Pan, this is probably the one that's the most overlooked. I think it's primarily because the song is not as lengthy and it's not as, I guess, upbeat as a lot of other Disney songs are known to be. In particular, the songs that are in Peter Pan are a lot more upbeat. Heck, even the villain song is super upbeat and jolly. Um, but here there is a certain level of um, beauty and innocence to it. It sounds very lovely. The person who sings the song, the character, at least Wendy, whoever does her voice, is really a really good singer. And what it basically talks about is sort of the importance of mothers within children's lives, and in particular to boys' lives, because basically Wendy is singing this to the Lost Boys, um, and you'll sort of see how even Peter Pan can't kind of get away from this kind of concept of motherhood, and he sort of listens in at one point. So you really do see the power and effect that it has on the people that surround Wendy. And again, since she's really the only primary female, if you exclude Tinkerbell out of all of the characters, you sort of see how her importance and her persuasion um, ultimately lets sort of the Lost Boys see the heart and uh, the sort of meanings behind having that sort of motherly figure around. So I think that that's really all I can say though about the song without really giving too much away from what it's really talking about. But it's quite lovely and definitely worthy, I think, of recommendation. The last two songs are interesting because they don't mention mom within the song. They actually just reference um, the mom, really, more so. It's not really part of the title or even sometimes the lyrics. At least within this next song in particular, I want to talk about 3 a.m. by Matchbox 20. Now, this one is really interesting because um, the lead singer of this song, uh, he had a mom that was suffering from cancer, and he sort of dedicated this particular song to her, and it sort of talks about her and kind of really hints into her struggles into dealing with this uh, very difficult process within her life. And he also kind of describes too how she's also very caring and kind of protective of her of him as a kid. Um, and you really do see the inspiration and you see the heart, and you sort of see a little bit too of the struggle and the heartbreak as well. And it really does resonate, I think, well with the audience. And you get all of these different kinds of motions from it, and the way in which the instrumentals are put together. You do get a sense that there's a lot of different things that the band is trying to get across, and they are I think are all conveyed very well. And I think it's definitely one of those more popular Matchbox 20 songs that remains to be remembered. I would say it's obviously up there with the Ozzy Osbourne song as far as popularity is concerned. Uh, but unfortunately, I don't know if people really are so familiar with that band anymore, since their prevalence was primarily within the 90s. But definitely, I think a recommendable song, and one that I think can resonate with a lot of people, and you can sort of see um, how there's a lot of heart and love behind it, as well as a lot of sadness and pain as well. Uh, and lastly, this song I thought was actually kind of cute and interesting in its own special way. It is called House of Gold by 21 Pilots. This is a more recent band, and the interesting thing about this particular song is that it does sort of mention uh, the mom within the song, but it also tries to do it in, I think, a little bit more of a positive light. In other words, the situation is a lot more uplifting as opposed to 3 a.m., which is a little bit more uh, sad and heartbreaking. So within the song, the narrator talks about how he likes, or or at least he wants to ultimately take care of his mom when nobody else is there for her. And the mom sort of asks him within the song if he'll provide a house of gold, so to speak, as sort of a means to where she can be taken care of. And it's sort of like a kind of a re a, a gesture of kindness for all of the things that she's done for him as a person. And what I think works well with the song is the fact that it does offer an interesting compilation of instrumentals. At one point, a ukulele. It's also fairly passionate, and the other thing too is you can really get the sense of affection and the loving nature that the person who's singing the song has for his mom, and again it reflects onto the instrumentals as well. So it's fairly again uplifting, it's cute, and it's full of charm, and is something that I think is really really nice and sweet, and as often as these kinds of songs don't really come around. But I think that's really all I can say about all of these songs. I'll be sure to put all the links below so you may enjoy all of the songs for yourself. But thank you so much for watching. I think that's really all I can say about all of them. But I hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year, and I hope to see you on the next video.